I took a personality test and it came back negative. We need to talk about work. So in this video, I'm going to talk about work. What's going on, guys? If you haven't been here before, welcome to the channel. If you have, welcome back. Just want to say thanks for all the support, and I hope you guys enjoy the videos. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In this video, I'm going to do a little bit of a different style. It's more of a vlog style while you watch me run the forklift. I was going to vlog on the forklift, but this truck was kind of a pain in the butt to put away, and it was on a Monday, so I was very busy, just didn't have the time. And first and foremost, I have to do my job. So the reason why I wanted to do this kind of a style of video is because I got some things I kind of wanted to talk about. So while you're watching me unload a truck and put it away, figured I'd go ahead and talk about some things that are very near and dear to my heart. So I've seen a few videos on the YouTube talking about how warehouse jobs are the hardest jobs. And don't get me wrong, it is hard work, but I've seen these videos and they tend to be a little bit more of kind of a negative style video, and I wanted to do something a little bit different because, as you've seen, I do a little bit more of a lighthearted style video, and I like to have fun. I really do like what I do, and I love my job. So I wanted to show kind of a different side of the warehouse. And my warehouse, it's not a very big warehouse, it's a pretty small warehouse actually. I'm hoping that we can get a bigger one. The purpose of this video is just to kind of talk a little bit about work and kind of my thoughts on it, a little bit about my beliefs on how I think work should be looked at. So I've seen a couple videos that are just pretty negative, I guess, talking about how it's hard work physically. I think that's pretty undeniable in this industry. However, they're talking about things like you can't be Mr. Nice Guy, or you can't work really, really hard, or else people will take advantage of you. They will abuse you if you're easy to deal with. Learn to say no, watch your back. I don't think that's the case really of the industry. I don't think the industry is like that. I think that's more of a culture issue. I think every company kind of tries to develop their own culture, and there are some companies out there that don't. I do believe that some of these videos are representative of the culture that they are working in. So a little bit about me and my background. I come from, a decent amount of food service operations. I have 15 plus years in customer service and operations experience, mostly in food service, hospitality, and distribution operations. It's not, 30 years of experience, but I would say in my 15 plus years of working with people, my experience from people has really come from my food service and hospitality industry. My operations, is everything from 5S, lean manufacturing, to process development, inventory control, stuff like that. So I took a lot of the stuff that I learned in food service, which, if you guys know, food service is a pretty rough industry, and even in some cases it could be a lot harder work than warehouse jobs. My old boss, he said it perfectly. He said, "We're in the people business, we just sell them a pizza." You really have to realize that people are kind of what makes the world go around. I think at one time I interviewed for a job working at a mine, and I told him, I said, machines and equipment doesn't make the world go around, it's people. And I think for that company, especially in mining industry, machines really do make the world go around. So I screwed up on that interview, but I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about work and kind of my ideas of what I think work is. One of the phrases that we're all familiar with is the phrase of work smart, not hard. And I think, in its roots, I think that's fundamentally a very good phrase. However, I think modern society and this modern workforce has really diluted the meaning of it and misconstrued what it actually means. It's now a phrase that means work smart so you don't have to work hard. People work smarter so they don't have to do as much. And I kind of fundamentally disagree with that aspect of it. I think we should work smart so that we can accomplish twice as much. You still need to work hard. If you look at all my videos, one of the ingredients in the description is hard work. And I do believe that hard work is necessary in any job. I don't care what kind of job it is. You can work hard physically, you can work hard mentally, you can work hard emotionally. But I just think that a lot of these people nowadays don't really understand what the meaning of that phrase used to mean. Mike Rowe said it perfectly, that nowadays there's not a war on education or anything like that. It's really just a war on work. They work harder getting out of work than they do actually just doing the work. Or, rather than sitting down complaining to your peers about all the crap that's going on, you could just work. You could just do the work and then talk about it later. But kind of going back to some of these videos that I've seen on YouTube, when one of your top comments on your video is that the worst mistake they ever made was working harder than everyone else just to get paid the same, that tells me that that's the kind of culture that we're trying to create. I do know there are some companies where they don't treat their employees very well. Those kind of companies are out there. They exist, but I think a lot of it is what you make of it. If it's a quote stepping stone for you, it's a quote stepping stone. But I have a lot of management experience, operations experience going into this industry. So I think what it boils down to is truly discipline. It was mentioned multiple times in one of the videos that it was like the atmosphere of high school where people talk about you and you got to watch your back and people will slander you and you got to be careful who you know and who you talk to because they'll go talk to your supervisor and get you in trouble and all this stuff. I got to thinking, I was like, maybe that's because that company, preys on people coming out of high school who don't have work experience, who have that mentality of being liked and stuff like that. So they don't have the experience and they don't have the discipline to know what's better for a business than what's coming out of high school. Some of these companies will pay a lot less, coming out of high school because they don't have any experience. They don't have to pay for that experience, So yeah, maybe that's what that company does, and they have to kind of decide whether or not they want that for themselves. But a few things that have got me through my working career is one, I work smart and hard, not just smart because I want to accomplish twice as much and I want to go places and I want to progress through my career, and I truly love what I do and I love sharing it with the world and I love sharing it with you guys. I think one of the things we learned during 2020 when we were all kind of shocked by COVID and stuff like that, I think we saw a fundamental change in the workforce. I think for the longest time, truckers were kind of like the unsung heroes because, truck drivers, they're kind of the backbone of, our country, at least, in the United States. All of a sudden, they were the heroes because they were the ones delivering the stuff that we needed. They were the ones delivering, our goods and products that we need on a daily basis. And so it put a lot of strain on infrastructure. And what that also does is put a lot of strain on people that work in those industries. I think this industry is a very rewarding industry because, I like to think of it as like I'm supplying the stuff that people want and need, and I like being useful, and that's why I like doing what I do, so I can feel like I'm helping, I feel like I'm doing a good job. I'm not just, in the food service industry, I kind of got burnt out with it. Just a lot of fast pace, low pay. And there's kind of an entitlement culture nowadays where people feel entitled to their opinion and they feel entitled to everything that is deserved to them. I kind of come from a traditional background of you work hard and you'll receive. I think not in response to these particular videos, because I'm not going to be specific. I'm not in the interest of, slander. I just want to open up a conversation about hard work. Some models I go by, it's a marathon, not a sprint. If you think it's a sprint, you're going to burn yourself out. Another one is don't ask anyone to do something you wouldn't be willing to do yourself or haven't done already. When I was in food service, I cleaned a lot of toilets, I cleaned a lot of grease traps, did a lot of dishes, I swept a lot of floors, mopped a lot of things, and I cleaned up a lot of messes. And, a lot of my employees, I would say, knew that I would never ask them to do something I wouldn't be willing to do myself. In hospitality, there's a lot of times where I was, cleaning up messes and putting in 18,000 steps and 9-10 miles a day when, most managers out there would be sitting behind a desk, telling other people what to do. And I think that's really important. I think we just have kind of like a little bit of a negative atmosphere, and I wanted to talk about it because I think we can all have fun at work. I know quite a few warehouses out there where people, they have fun. They yell and they laugh and they scream and they sing music and they make jokes, but they get the work done, they work hard, they go home at the end of the day, and I know that they feel happy about what they did. If you're not happy in your position, in your job, in your career, then you need to make a change, and it's really comes down to you and what you're going to do about it. I think nowadays we like to point the finger and say it's not our fault, but it's really not about that. One of the other things is, what more can we do? That's a mindset that I've always had. What more can I do? What more can be done? What's our next step? Look into the future, and let's make sure if we've made a mistake, we don't want to make one again. So let's, rather than looking in the past of what we've done and what's went wrong and why things are broken and why this happened, let's just look forward and try not to let that happen again. Another thing I was, kind of thinking about was in one of these videos, it was mentioned, don't do anything outside your department or your job description, and, learn to say no, and people take advantage of you. I met an older gentleman who had decades of engineering experience under his belt. He said one of the best things he ever did was diversify his career. His resume was very diversified, and he was an engineer, so he took a lot of the tools he learned being an engineer and he applied them to business and project management, and he is able to do a lot more than just one thing. I don't think any supervisor has ever moved into their position by just doing what's basically required of them. I think they always had to show that they could go above and beyond and accomplish more than what was within their job description. And I think that's the mark of a leader. Not everyone is groomed to be a leader, but the way you kind of progress is diversifying what you know and your skill set, and that's what I've done. I've worked a lot of different operations: restaurant, hospitality, distribution, production, and it's really paid off for me. I think I'm in a good spot with my career. So one of the things I've always done is things outside of my job description or department. And obviously I know what I'm worth, and I'm not going to be taken advantage of. And there are companies out there that will do that, but for the most part, I think, I do what's required of me, and then I always try to go above and beyond. So, I think that that's a very important thing to do. I think you should go and do things outside your job description and outside your department, because it's going to diversify your skill set. It's going to teach you new things that will help you later on. I know there's a lot of stress in this job, and it can be physical and mental and emotional, but I think one of the things that this job requires is discipline. To those out there that are, kind of, maybe you're in a bad situation, I get it. I have been in a bad situation before. It's really not about your situation. It's about what you can do to better your situation. And I really believe that that's the workforce nowadays. I don't think that's specific to the warehouse industry. Warehousing is a very, very small portion of the workforce. It is a large industry, but it's a very small portion. When you're talking about just warehousing, you're not talking about all the logistics that go behind the warehousing. The warehousing side of things is just, your organization and, your 5S tools, your Lean Six Sigma, stuff like that, where you are running and organizing a warehouse. And I don't think anyone can be an organized person without a little bit of discipline. A couple of these videos, it was them kind of talking about, people and working with people and like the social aspect of the job. And I don't think that's specific to this industry. I really do think that that's just work. I think that's the workforce. What I would say is not welcome to the warehouse, but I would say welcome to work. That's really what it is everywhere. You're going to have to learn to deal with people. You're going to have to learn to work with people and get along with people. And you're going to find that everywhere you go. One of the comparisons that I'd like to make is that, there was a time when, if you worked for McDonald's or you flipped a burger anywhere, you were the low of the low. You were in a low-life job that didn't pay good, was not very rewarding. And to those out there that are still kind of making fun of those jobs, the joke's on you, because those companies, some of them have not, but some of them have stepped it up. For example, McDonald's. Now you get tuition reimbursement. They help you go to school. You get great benefits. You get paid a lot more now. So there's no reason for them to be the butt of the joke. I know one of those companies out there nowadays is kind of like Amazon. If you're working for Amazon, nowadays people are like, oh, it sucks, it's the worst job ever, it's terrible, supervisors are terrible, they expect too much out of you. Again, I wouldn't say welcome to the warehouse, I would say welcome to the workforce. You're gonna find that in a lot of different places, and I think that goes back to culture. It's not about the work, it's not about the industry, It's about the culture that that place creates. There's a lot of really, really hard jobs out there in the food service industry. There's a lot of rewarding ones too. A lot of people don't like working in the food service industry, and they'll start saying the same things of, people are terrible and they're mean to you, and they expect too much out of you and don't pay you enough. And, there are parts of our jobs that we don't like. For example, receiving a truck on a Monday right in the middle of your morning batch. Yeah, it kind of sucks, because if you watched my One Dude, One Warehouse versus a Monday, you saw how many packages I did just in my morning batch, and then you get a truck right in the middle of that. It kind of throws in a wrench into your day. And then, on top of that, you got to put it away, and there's a lot of work involved, So on one of these days, I'm working a 12, 13-hour shift, but it's just what has to be done. So that's what I do. Like I said, if you enjoy what you do and you make the best of it, then it's not that bad of a job. It's very rewarding. I just wanted to put a little different perspective on things, You didn't sell your soul. If you did, I'm sorry. You probably shouldn't have done that. But if you are anywhere in a job, you are your own boss. People say, oh no, No, you can make your own decisions. You can decide for yourself what you need to do. You can decide to go along with things. You can decide to better yourself. You can decide to, do a lot of things. There's a lot more that's in your control than you think. So just wanted to kind of give my perspective on work. Man, it's not about what people have done to you. It's about what you can do to make your career better and do better for your family and those that love you. I work hard so that when I go home, I put food on the table and I take care of my wife and I can be with my family. That's why I do what I do. I think it's very important to just be very positive in your work and have fun with what you do. And I really appreciate all the support that you guys have given me watching my videos. If you guys like this style of video where you watch me run the forklift, or if there's any other different shots that you'd like to see me do where you can see my hand controls or something, I don't know. I'm still not very good on the forklift. I am getting better, but I'm not amazing at it. Learning on a stand-up forklift, it's a different animal for sure. I'm still learning, trying to get better. But if there's anything else you guys would like to see, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will definitely take that into consideration when I make the next one. Thought about doing more vlogs, just talking about some things that I see every day. I think that would be kind of a good thing to do. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.